Hi again. Because of my video that I done about the undateables, I actually done two videos. I thought I would do a video about Asperger's syndrome. Like I said in my undateables video, I do actually have Asperger's syndrome, but I think that there is a lot of like stereotypes about what Asperger's is. And how it affects people and things. I've actually got a lot of notes about like Asperger's and mental health and anxiety and things. I actually have a whole folder full. This is my folder. So I'm just gonna look through my notes that I actually got from the late diagnosis group that I went to. I got diagnosed with Asperger's when I was 18 years old, and I didn't really understand that much about it. I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't really know that much. So I went to this late diagnosis group, and they kind of gave you notes and went through it all, and you discussed it and things. So I'm just gonna do that now. We've done a section on childhood and about how it affects children, kind of saying that development of like speech, sexual awareness, humor, and theory of mind like is delayed. And my experiences, I don't think according to my mum, my speech was like fine. I learned to speak at like a normal age. Humor, yeah. Yeah, getting jokes is quite hard for anyone, I think, sometimes. If you just don't get the joke, you just don't get the joke. But I did take a longer time to kind of, like, start dating and things compared to my friends. That always made me feel very left out. Like, because I remember in high school, my friends were like, oh, I fancy so-and-so, and I'm like, well, I don't fancy anyone, kind of thing. It still is like that now, but I think I'm just picky. I think that's just me. Peers relate to different age groups, may hide speech differences, difficulty maintaining friendships. Yeah, it is hard to maintain friendships. I think that's true of anyone. Like, I find it hard to maintain friendships. Like, if someone says something, I get annoyed with them. I'm just like, no, just go away, kind of thing. But then I'm like, oh, I'll just give them another chance, and another chance, and another chance, and then you end up being used. But I find that, but I don't think that's an Asperger's thing. I think just everyone has difficulty with friendships. It takes a long time to learn. Yeah. This says motor difficulties with like clumsiness, posture, and sports. Well, like, I can't play sports to save myself, but I just don't like sports. That's just my thing. Apparently, children with Asperger's, like, prefer to, like, play with, I was going to say play with themselves. Yeah, but you get what I mean, and lack of role play or order. But I've always found children, when I've worked with children with like Asperger's and things, they're much better like imaginative play. Like, they have ideas that no one would think of. That's just my experiences. I don't think like your child has to like play with a big group of people. I think just let your child, if they want to be by themselves, let them be by themselves. You can't force people. Obsessive interests is another one, like detailed knowledge of one or two topics. Yeah, I think I am like that, like with like pop stars and things that I am like obsessed. Like I collect pictures of celebrities on my computer, which is kind of sad, but I'll actually look how many pictures I have of. Like, I went through like McFly phases and Tokyo Hotel. I have like over 5,000 pictures of Tokyo Hotel. Jedward was another one. I went through a Jedward phase. I think I've kind of gone off that phase, but I had 2,560 pictures of Jedward. I think that's obsessive. Yeah, I think that is obsessive. But I think having an interest of, like, whether it be any topic, no problem with it. If it keeps you entertained and makes you happy, fair enough. Sensitive, like, to food, clothing. Like, I've heard that, like, some people, they'll only like certain materials of clothing or something. Yeah, I'm kind of the same with food. I'm really fussy with food. I was actually told that I had strong tendencies towards anorexia, but I think that's my Asperger's. I don't think I have anorexia. Like, I'm very sensitive to smell. Like, some foods, I don't like chewy foods. I don't like food being in my mouth too long, like chewing gum. Like, I will chew gum because my friends chew gum, but I don't actually like gum. I'm kind of weird with food, and I only like certain brands of food. That's just me. I just, like, what's wrong with having favorite brands of food? Or you don't have to eat everything. Like, I am fussy with food. I think that's one of the things that I do actually have, and I've always been fussy, like, since childhood. I am very fussy. Another one that it says here is emotions, like roller coaster emotions, frustration and meltdown. I can't really remember. I remember more as a teenager, for me. But I think every teenager got through that. But I don't really remember it being a child, being frustrated. I remember being a child and hating, like, adults talking to me like I'm stupid. Like, you know when adults do that voice, oh really? Wow, go get it, show it to me. And I just remember thinking, I can't speak English, talk to me like I'm a person. I remember that being very frustrating. Another one is communication. Yeah, I think that's the biggest one that I found with, like, children with Asperger's, finding it hard to say what they need, or, like, information. If you're explaining something, they just don't get it. Yeah, and another one would be routine. That's quite a big one. Like, quite a lot of, not every person with Asperger's is the same. Like I've said, I found, like, quite a lot of children with Asperger's that I've actually met like a routine. They like to do the same thing. They don't, and if anything disrupts the routine, they get quite angry. Letting go. Difficulty coming to terms with the past. That one is probably one of the biggest ones for me, in my experiences. What happened to me when I was a teenager, I find it very hard to let go. I know I should put the past in the past, and I kind of know that, but it's hard to. I'm not sure if anyone else has the same thing. Like, if something bad's happened, it's very difficult to forget about it. And, like, if someone said something or done something horrible, if I see that person, I'm like, well, you hurt me, I'm not gonna talk to you. And I know I shouldn't. But that's one of the most difficult ones for me. But I really do want to let go of the past. It would be a great thing for me if I could. At the back of this one that I was given was differences between girls and boys. That's actually back to front if I hold it like that, so I'm just going to read it. Speech differences. 50% of girls have that, and 20% of boys. Motor tics is like moving their head or clicking their fingers, like that. 40% of girls have that, 15% of boys. A lacks best friend. 30% of girls and 70% of boys. I find that girls normally have a best friend more than boys do. But that might just be a girl and boy thing. Difficulty completing tasks. 30% of girls and 5% of boys. Follows other children like a shadow. 40% of girls, 10% of boys. But yeah, I think for a girl to be the same as other girls, I've found like that's quite a big thing. Demand avoidance, 65% of girls and 20% of boys. But apparently I've heard that boys are more likely to be diagnosed with Asperger's as a child than girls. Like, apparently girls are more likely to be diagnosed later on, like in their teens. I don't know why that is. I have no idea. Because I know quite a lot of boys who do have Asperger's, and they were diagnosed way before me. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I wish I knew. But I don't know if it's actually helpful to have a diagnosis. Sometimes it can be, and sometimes it can't be. I honestly don't know. I wish I did. But a diagnosis with something like a mental problem can be helpful, but it's annoying when it can't really be cured. Like if you're diagnosed with asthma, it can't be cured, but you can control it. But with like something like Asperger's, it's more difficult to control because it's the way you think, and you can't really change the way you think. You can learn to hide it, but I don't know if that's a helpful thing, to hide who you are. I think people should embrace who they are.